If you've been playing Valorant and you haven't been getting the maximum impact out of each and every ultimate, then I got the perfect video for you, because we're going to be breaking down one tip for every single ultimate in Valorant. If you're enjoying Valorant and want to improve, me and my partner coach Speed are pumping out double daily uploads, so please do us a favor and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on a single bit of content. Now, without further ado, let's just jump right into it, shall we? Kicking it off with the first ultimate, we have Phoenix's Run It Back. Now, in my opinion, the most consistent way to get value with Run It Back is to make sure that you have an ally follow directly behind you. This means you can aggressively run in, check corners, and try to get any damage, and then if enemies kill you, you not only traded resources, but you can also relay that information to your teammate, allowing them for an easy follow-up. This is a way to ensure some sort of value. Now, the second tip that I have for you that you might not know is that when you are in Run It Back, any guns you grab or even the spike will go back to your regular body. This includes running through teleporters and grabbing the spike. It will then bring the spike all the way back to your body on the other side of the map. Remember this tip because it can be extremely useful, especially at the very end of your Run It Back. Sometimes you want to pick up that better gun off the ground. Now, moving on to the next ultimate we have on our list, we have Jett's Blade Storm. Now, I've told this tip many times, but I need to keep reiterating it because many players are still spamming the right click, the alternate fire on Jett's Blade Storm, when it's not even accurate from mid to far ranges. It is incredibly inconsistent, and sometimes you can have the crosshair directly on someone's head, and because of the spread, you miss almost all the shots, or you only hit one of them in the body. Your left click primary fire is what you should be using most often, and you need to be trying to hit the head. It's consistent, it one-shots, and it's way more reliable. On top of that, one of the most important aspects about Blade Storm that you need to abuse is the fact that you can be flying through the air and floating and still be accurate. You can't be that way with many guns, but to be able to updraft multiple times, glide down flying through the air, and still hit pinpoint accurate headshots is something that only Blade Storm can do, especially from longer ranges. Use your mobility and verticality to make it harder for enemies to predict where you're coming from and to hit you, while you hit them back with pinpoint accurate Blade Storm shots. Now, moving on to the next ultimate on our list, it's Viper's Pit. So when you're using Viper's Pit, here's the most important thing that you need to understand when you activate it, especially when you planted a spike and you're using it to take point control. You need to really be tracking before the round starts about what enemies have ultimates or are close to ultimates, because there are several ultimates that can counter you when you use your Viper's Pit. Orbital Strike, Hunter's Fury, and many more can really shut you down if you're not actively aware of them, because while Viper's Pit definitely blocks LOS, it does give the enemy team a certain amount of information. When you invest Viper's Pit onto a point, they know that you have to stay in the pit for it to remain active. This means that you can't come from an alternate angle, you can't contest the high ground above a point, you have to be somewhere inside the pit, which means that it's a lot easier for enemies to play around you. You need to really be thinking about what enemy players are alive and what you have to play around every single time you activate Viper's Pit, or you might get no value altogether. This is especially compounded depending on the gun you have. There are certain guns that are going to be far better inside your own pit, like a shotgun, versus if you have something like a Marshall, a pistol, or an AWP, you might be far less effective than something that has full auto fire or something that's suited for closer ranges. Now, moving on to the next ultimate we have is Hunter's Fury by Sova. Now, the best way to get value out of Hunter's Fury is you need information first. So you want to be setting it up with your recon arrow or your drone, and then instantly follow it up with your ultimate for an easy kill. I've told you in multiple videos how you can definitely use it to stop a plant, so I'm not going to get that too much here. But here's a tip to actually get more value when you actually hit someone with the first Hunter's Fury. Usually the first Hunter's Fury is going to connect, but then the enemy's going to move sporadically, and you have 2 chances to hit them a second time in order to kill them, because 2 hits will kill. Now, what you need to do is first read where their body looks to go, and then try to accommodate for the distance that they traveled. If you perfectly accommodate for the distance that they traveled and they weren't there, you should probably flip it to the other side proportionate to the time frame that it took them to travel it. Like as if they were running in the other direction and they tricked you, then you need to accommodate for that extra distance. Basically, I will nail someone directly and I'll look and see kind of where they're going. I will accommodate for the time and go to whatever direction I think they went in. And if that wasn't correct, I will flip to the other side at a much farther distance, double that distance or a slight bit more, so that I could potentially read them if they tried to actually debate me and go the other way. I hope this makes sense to you. If you don't understand, please let me know in the comments down below. But essentially what you're trying to do is cover all your bases, because after the first hit, you really only need to get in one more hit to get that kill. Now for the next ultimate on our list, we have Neural Theft from Cypher. Now, Cypher's Neural Theft only gives you information for a short amount of time, but here's how you get the most out of it. The second that Neural Theft is used, you need to be instantly looking at your mini-map in the top left screen, and then you know exactly what characters are where. Knowing what characters are in certain locations is really important, because you could also, 1, know which one of those characters has damage on them, and 2, you know which characters are weaker or stronger depending on that character's kit. For example, if the enemy Raze has her ultimate Showstopper, you probably don't want to joint push her, but if there's a Sova who's already weak, you know that you could easily push him or make a joint play on them. Then, the second you gather that information, you need to instantly make a decision about whether or not you want to joint push a player, make a play, or get a plant. So basically you're trying to make a play for 1, going for a kill with your team, or 2, planting a spike. Either way, you definitely need to make a plan right with that information. You don't have a lot of time, and really realize that enemies will know that they're being revealed, so they're probably going to dramatically reposition accordingly. Now moving on to the next ultimate on our list, it's Orbital Strike, Brimstone's ultimate. Now, Brimstone's Orbital Strike is a powerful ultimate that can get kills and take space. So you can definitely use it in a choke point if people are pushing through and get a lot of kills. That is kind of an example that I don't think is going to happen all that often going forward. It's pretty easy, honestly, to dodge Orbital Strike. However, what Orbital Strike is really good for is these 2 scenarios. The first one is to use it as a space creating ability, allowing you and your team to flush a point. You can use it to not only block LOS, but prevent enemies from pushing. You could basically damage off the whole high ground, the heaven, so that they are not only completely blind to it, but they can't push in and take that space, giving you more opportunities to push on a point and less angles you have to cover. The second way is in the exact same way that you use Sova's Hunter's Fury, which is simply to stop someone from defusing. It could be a great ultimate to try to kill someone who's trying to defuse a spike that you already planted. Now moving on to the next ultimate on our list, we have Sage's Resurrection. Now, Resurrect is a powerful ultimate, maybe one of the most powerful, that is valuable at any stage of the game. But the biggest downside in my mind is getting pushed during its long activation time. So you need to be hyper aware of your surroundings. Your situational awareness needs to be on point, because the last thing you want to do is give the enemy Jett a 6k, okay? Now the thing is, when is the best time to use Resurrect? Because it can be kind of overwhelming. Do you use it when you're in a 1v1, make it a 2v1, or do you use it in this scenario, that scenario? In my opinion, the best time to invest a Resurrect is in a round where your whole team bought weapons. Your whole team invested their economy into buying weapons, because you want to give yourself the best shot at winning a round. That way, if any of your teammates die, you instantly res them, because you want to make it a level playing field. All your teammates have good weapons. You want to make sure that you win this round, and you're willing to invest a little bit more over top of it to ensure that your team gets to win the round, keep their guns, and keep stacking that economic resource. Now moving on to the next ultimate we have on our list, it's From the Shadows by Omen. That sounds like that actually sounds like a desktop computer, you know, the Omen desk, whatever. Okay, sorry. That's a little bit of a tangent, but From the Shadows is the ability for Omen to teleport anywhere across the map, and it's extremely powerful in some ways, but it's also predictable in others, because everyone hears it. The whole enemy team's gonna know that you used it, so they know that you could be behind them, and oftentimes Omens will use it on a flank play to try to get some kills, and it just doesn't work out because everyone's looking for you. In my opinion, the most consistent and best way to use From the Shadows is just to quick rotate or plant and rejoin with your team. The fact that you have that much mobility means you could be blocking a site and then quickly go to your teammates if that site is not potentially attacked, or you could easily rotate to your teams and help them where they need help at. This is really cool because this is the consistent way to use it, and if you don't teleport behind the enemy lines, they're still gonna have to be a little bit aware of you because they think you could teleport behind them. And while the flank route can work sometimes as like a clutch play, it's inconsistent at best, so I wouldn't suggest just always teleporting in these obvious spots right behind the enemy. Now, moving on to the next ultimate we have on our list is Breach's Rolling Thunder. Now, Rolling Thunder is a space creating ability in the same way that Orbital Strike is, but actually a little bit better. Now, to create space is to allow you and your team to push onto point and hold better positions on that point. Rolling Thunder could be an ultimate that you use to engage while you and your team run and follow behind it so that you get to push onto point while essentially blocking off a potential place for the enemy could peek from, because they have to get out of the way of the Rolling Thunder and it takes up such a large area on the map. On top of that, it's great as a counter ult. If you hear enemies invest ultimates, you can often use Rolling Thunder to dissuade them from pushing, such as Phoenix's run it back. If you know he's coming down long sight lines, you could use this ultimate to hold him at bay until his run it back runs out. Moving on to the last, but certainly not least ultimate, it's Raze's Showstopper. Now, this is, of course, everyone's favorite ultimate. Showstopper was in all the highlight reels at the start of the beta, but as people got a little bit better at dealing with Showstopper and tracking your ultimate, it's gotten quite a bit less value on average. Here's the thing that you need to do if you want to get value still on her Showstopper, even though enemies are a little bit craftier at not playing together and not necessarily lining up for those 5Ks that you want to be getting. So in general, you want to be comboing your C4 with your Showstopper. This gives you a little bit of vertical mobility and momentum, allows you to boost over walls, propel you around corners, and surprise the enemy that much quicker. It also makes it a lot harder for enemies to actually shoot you if they're not ready for you, which most of the time they're not going to be. And then on top of that, the biggest takeaway, in my opinion, this is what you need to do with the Showstopper ultimate. You need to stop being so greedy with the ultimate. If you can get one kill, not one where you trade, but an actual kill where you just get one kill and you walk away, that is value on the table, and that's good value. You don't always need to try to go for these 3, 4, 5Ks because frankly, that could be a way that you get killed and potentially get no value at all. So set yourself up with that free kill, put it in the bag, and go on with the round with that inherent numbers advantage. And then on top of that, of course, you can use this to punish things like res, or you can use it for later on and hold it for those situations where enemies are trying to plant a spike or things like that. But being less greedy is always going to be better with this ultimate on average, because remember, consistency is what matters for ranking up and doing well in this game. It's not just about the highlight reels. It's not just about the flashy plays. It's about consistency. Anyways, if you like Valorant content, do me and Speed and everyone at GameLeap a favor and smash that subscribe button. We're pumping out as many videos as we possibly can for you, so don't miss out on a single little bit of content. Anyways, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you just want to roast me down below, please type away in the comments. If there's any other thing you want to learn or any other videos you want to see, definitely let me know and I'll jump right on it. That's all I got for you today. I'm Coach Mills, and until next time,